All right, well, let's get started. So, I am going to have someone else give us a bit of a previously on. Let's go with Levi. Levi, you were around for most of it. So
I was just gonna say nose goes. Damn it.
Yeah, go ahead and then give us your rundown of last week's, yesterday's in-game situation, what you guys are doing, what you know about the case, and your personal feelings towards it.
Hold on.
Hughes was in jail.
I fucked something up. Hold on a second.
I'm in jail.
You're both in jail.
No, just me.
I don't know. I'm not there. I went home.
You did. You went home for a bit. You went for a snack.
Well, I can't help it.
Alright, so, if I can find my notes. No, not that one. We got a letter about we got a letter about a disappearance of a kid. Part of the Bexley family. And I believe we were given a name in the letter, of Pasco Vione. So we had the option of either going to the Bexley residence in the gated community to find out what was going on there, or going to try and talk to the inspector about it and see what we could get from him. And what we ended up doing was going to we went to the, what would it be called, inspector's office?
Yeah, the police station.
That's a police station. We went to the police station. Got into some shenanigans because he didn't show up. I was hiding in a corner at one point underneath like a dusty desk or something in a room nobody touched. And William got arrested for being a loony on the streets with his flowers. Not William, the other one.
Mike.
William went home.
Mike, that's it. So that's what I got into.
Yeah, so you received a letter. There's a young man that has disappeared named Hans Bexley. The parents apparently have offered a reward for him to be found. Police have had no luck in locating him. So you guys did go to the inspector station. You were able to search his desk and find a few additional clues. Do you remember what those were? All right, gonna take that as a no. So as a reminder.
Sorry, I'm just trying to set up my stream still.
No, you're good.
Clues that I got were his last known location and and where his dealer for opium usually hangs around.
Correct. Yeah. So you received his last known location was the Broadview Garden in downtown. And the inspector was currently stationed at a coffee house called the Cocoa Gate, which is located kind of between the gated community and the blue district, or the blue collar district, residential. That's what you guys were up to. William had his own thing going on, so I wanted to talk to you guys as a group. The identity of your crew is the enemy must not prevail. Who do you guys consider to be your enemy?
The proletariat. I don't know.
Can I get that in English, please?
That's kind of a vague answer
Okay,
to that
so
question.
let me focus this a little bit. All right, two within your own crew. You all have at least had some encounters with what you would consider to be monsters in one way or another. whether it's an actual physical strange being, Frankenstein's monster for example, or it is a monstrous human being, or it is a piece of nature come to life in the form of a massive tree. You've all seen things that you might consider to be monsters, and the reason you were all brought into the order was to kind of get rid of these monsters because the government, the police were not able to do so, or just chose not to. You have now both witnessed a member of your crew present some monstrous qualities. What are your feelings on them? And internally for you as well, William, do you feel like your mythos is pulling you, trying to pull the reins back a bit to get you closer to where you're trying to be? And if so, in what way? Specifically for your mystery of how do I get control over this bloodlust. So Levi, let's talk to you. You're kind of the newest member of this order. When the order brought you in and they told you, okay, you're going to be out there fighting monsters, you know, what do you consider to be a monster? And do you have any concern with what you've seen on the side of William?
My definition of a monster, probably anything that doesn't seem inherently human in its visual characteristics and more so how it acts. From where I'm from, I've seen people in heavy desperation, so I know what can seem somewhat inhuman, and anything beyond that I would consider monstrous activity.
Mm-hmm.
And in regards to William, well, he ate a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what was your thought on that?
Oh, on that, the horse situation at first I wasn't really sure because I was just trying to not focus on the whole horse being dead as far as I knew, and I'm sure it ended up that way. But what was one of the things after that? Oh, in the church. That's when I kind of knew something wasn't right, and it's rather violent, and I don't take to violence as my first opportunity if I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exactly something I get along with, so to speak.
And so, William, after your last meal, you felt that part of your mythos begin to fade. What does that mean? Is it just a feeling within you? How is that represented now in your life, that aspect of your mythos beginning to kind of lose its power?
Which one was that again?
Whatever the mythos of how do I control my thirst?
Oh, there it is. I'm blind. Don't mind me. Well, maybe I just won't get it under control. It seems like I just keep losing control, and I don't know if it's...
So with the myth that you were being drawn to, how do you feel like that is represented? Because there definitely, from the myth itself, there was a struggle there. So do you feel that with more encounters, more feedings, you will continue to get weaker? Or do you feel like, well, I guess if you lose that aspect, right? You lose that part of your being, what logos, what part of humanity would replace it?
I don't know, probably something boring. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know all of the fancy things that would replace it. So probably some kind of need to help people.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like the myth would continue to grant you these powers if you keep feeding the way you do? Or do you feel like that's a risk that you're taking each time you go for a meal of that type?
I don't know, I feel that it would just get more and more of a drain on my body if I kept feeding. Probably. It would probably eventually just become too much, and then it would just, like, snap. I might lose it. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I'm very confused.
Well, speaking of confused, or at least seeming to be a bit confused, the sun is beginning to rise. And Mike, you're awake because, it's time for work.
Yep.
But you're not at home. It smells like sweat and it's musty and it's dusty, and the cot you're on had a very little, feather mattress, not comfortable at all. The jail cell is tiny. There's weird scratches on the wall. There's the loud snoring of the drunk Irishman that had been put in the jail cell next to you. And there's
you kind of described home there, but okay.
So it's home away from home.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's not
it
that
is
bad.
It's definitely work time and you're not there. What is going on in your mind?
Oh, I forgot the sound from my phone. What's going on in my mind is I get to relax. Basically a day off.
Do you have any concerns about this, or is it the fact that this is literally out of your control, nothing I can do, like no harm can come to me? Oh, one sec. For some reason I lost sound there. All right. Say that again.
Basically, I'm not worried about it. Stay off. My boss will be here. Not soon, but whenever he figures out which precinct I'm in.
Why does he even know you're in jail? Maybe you just quit.
I don't miss work.
Yeah, I know. Maybe you just quit.
So yeah.
You just said it was your day off.
Well, no, it's basically a day off.
It is, but it's also a Tuesday, and that's kind of you work during the week. he's
Exactly.
definitely
I'm
gonna notice,
supposed to
like,
be there.
Probably in a few
I'm
hours.
there before he is.
In a few hours when he normally shows up, because the boss isn't gonna show up
Yeah.
earlier than like 8 or 9. He's gonna notice Mike's cart and donkey are still sitting here. All the other
Yep.
ones are gone. So there's a move in the book which I think you could kind of use here, and it's called a flashback. It's
Yep.
once per session. You can describe an action carried out by your character in the past and make a move for that action. The outcome of the move affects the current scene. Describe the events from your character's backstory and become that's the other option. So the main things now is obviously the character in the past can't know information that they learned up to this point. So you can't go back and again happen to randomly say I'm going to be at this police station, because before
no.
you left or ended work, you didn't even know you were going to the police station. But yeah, if there's a specific flashback you can come up to where you feel it's going to help you either get out of here quicker or whatever your motive is, if you want to head to work, definitely let's hear it.
It was 20 years ago. I missed my first day of work. And it's because I was in prison for, drinking a little too much and starting a little fight at one of the establishments. And the next day when I got to work, my boss asked me, basically was ready to fire my ass, because I was relatively, new to the crew. A couple years under my belt's all. Hadn't missed a day up until that point. And so he asked me why I didn't show up yesterday. And I was like, well, I was in prison. Kinda couldn't get here. And then, 20 years go by, never missing a day.
Okay. So this is basically going to be a roll to see if your boss is going to put the picture together that you must be in jail.
that's and whether he can actually find which one I'm in.
Nope. Roll that too.
Yeah, what's this gonna be?
That's a good question. I feel like this would be technically the boss rolling an investigate roll, but it's not that. I think, honestly, it's going to be a face danger, simply being the danger that either he doesn't know where you are.
Yep.
He doesn't realize that you're in jail because it has been so long that maybe he's forgotten. Or maybe it's not that big of a deal that you're not there.
It is a Tuesday.
For whatever reason, exactly. So, yeah, let's do a face danger. I would say the status we're going here, I'm going to say this is a status of left behind 2. And that's going to be an ongoing status of your boss, basically, again, for one of those reasons, has left you behind. So what kind of power tags are you going to be utilizing?
You need a lost but not forgotten tag.
Commitment to the job, key to the pit.
How will the key to the pit help here? Is that just...
Well, I'm the one that opens up in the morning.
Okay.
Now they gotta wait for the boss to come around.
All right, I'll give you that one.
I'm not sure about garbage collector. That'll be up to you.
I mean, that's technically your job, so yeah, that works here. That's what that power tag is. It's literally your occupation, so.
And then do I need to do the -2 for the left behind?
No, so that's the status you're rolling to not receive.
Okay. Okay, so face danger.
Nice.
Bam.
Good job.
All right.
He did it.
I told you my boss was gonna be pissed.
Yeah, now you're gonna get fired. And left in
I ain't
jail.
gonna get fired. There's gonna be a certain constable that's gonna be
You're the one that got arrested for
kissing some boots here pretty soon.
for digging in the dirt like an idiot.
I wasn't doing anything wrong, and he's the one that thinks I'm crazy. And then when the boss gets here and says I'm not a crazy person,
Yes, because your boss is gonna have all of the weight in the world.
Let's see how long you last without your trash being picked up.
Mike already has all the weight in the world.
Yep.
So Levi, let's talk to you for a bit. You were able to get out of there, barely. Where did you end up setting up for the night? And knowing that Mike is locked away, what would Levi be doing in the morning?
What would I be doing in the morning? Cooped up in some little alley somewhere that I probably didn't know where I was, just that I was in an alley.
Well,
Going to a cafe and probably scavenging food off of people not looking.
So you're in the blue collar residential. You know, it's a bunch of, you know, flats and apartment structures, all of that. Would you have really not spent that much time here, or did you primarily head straight to the slums, or did you come from a part of town that was higher class than this area?
I'm not sure I'm quite following, sorry.
So you say you're unfamiliar with this area, but you're in the large, again, blue collar worker housing part of the city. So the middle class kind of part of the city. Would you really not be familiar with it, or is this possibly where you came from before you went to the streets?
Unfamiliar as in I'm not really bothered about specifically where I am. I know how to get to, I know a place by the buildings and such around it. I don't know a place by the district, so to speak.
All right, so you're scavenging food and all that. Would you go back to the jail or the station at any point to get an ID on anything, or would you be trying to head back to the pit to hope that everybody's going to meet there at the end of the day? Like, what's your game plan now that you have basically the most information for the group?
Given that I know Mike is still in prison, or detained right now, I'm gonna hang around the area and wait to see if he comes out, because I'm on my own. This information's not that useful. Also, a little side note, I don't think I ever would have come from this area because of when I ran away. It would have been like closer to school years still.
Were your parents wealthy?
No, not at all.
Okay. So your parents probably lived in the slums as well?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
I suppose so. Okay. Is there any area that's like in between slums and blue collar living?
The old boroughs.
Probably there then.
Okay. Maybe Mike knows your parents as well because he picks up their trash.
Maybe like the very edge by the slums, like the cheapest old borough housing you can get.
It sounds like you might be living right next door to Mike. So when you spent the night there at Mike's house, you might have been kind of close to home.
Mike is your father.
Oh, there we go. Those pictures you found weren't of random men; they were of you.
No.
All right. So at about probably 7:30, Levi, you notice a strange commotion. There's this shorter, stocky woman. She's wearing, you know, a button-down white shirt and a long kind of dark gray dress. Her hair is tightly pulled back into a bun. She's followed by two other men that look very similar to Mike, kind of raggedy clothes, but, you know, overalls, big, strong men, and they both are followed by carts full, not fully all the way full, but pretty decently full of garbage. And they're having difficulty keeping up with her as she is just storming towards the front of the police station. Inside, Mike, you've been spending about an hour in there. It started to slowly pick up. You have the first few officers coming in, getting their gear, heading out. You've heard the stable master come in, kind of feed and groom the horses. You hear the horses kind of trot off. And then you hear a booming sound coming from the interior of the building. Levi, you see the woman pounding on the front door, and a constable comes open to it, kind of slightly opens the front door, and she just slams it in his face, just pushes open and barges her way inside. The two other men stand on both sides of the door, kind of looking at each other and shrug. It doesn't seem like they necessarily know what's going on right now. Do you do anything?
I'm just gonna follow her in.
Okay. So as you walk by, I mean, you're used to odors from the city, but there is a distinct smell coming from those carts. It just does not, it hits you a bit sideways. The woman has made her way to the front desk and is currently in the process of having a conversation where she has pulled the front collar of a constable who looks like he may only be 18 years old down to her level and is angrily speaking into his face.
Speaking is a good word.
After about, I don't know, a minute and a half of this, the constable's trying to pull away, kind of get free. She reaches into a bag on her side and she pulls out a little kind of like handbag. She opens it, it has a clasp on the top, and she reaches in and you hear the sound of coins. And she pulls out a stack of maybe 3 or 4 coins and sets them on the counter, puts her hand over it and slides it towards the constable and just kind of nods, continuing a conversation. Are you just watching?
Yeah, just kind of sitting there waiting for a point where I can like get myself into it.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's really just there's a few other constables that have kind of crowded around the top banister and are kind of watching the scene, but as far as down in the interior, it's just her and this one constable right at the counter, and you're kind of over off to the side where the benches were that you guys have been sitting on last night.
Okay, I'm gonna still just wait until Mike gets brought up, like, to the point where I can intervene, maybe. Maybe not intervene, but, like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for that.
So the constable starts to notice that there's other constables around, and so he tries to discreetly place his hand on top of hers to calm her down. She moves her hand around, and you see him clearly take the coins, put it in his pocket. He reaches down underneath the counter and pulls out a few, it looks like a small ticket, some kind of report, and hands it to her. And then you hear him say, "All right, give me a moment. I'll be right back, ma'am." She takes the report, looks at it, kind of shakes her head in disgust, and rips it up, throws it on the ground. One of the constables kind of comes up to tell her she shouldn't do that. She just puts her finger up and just shakes her head, and he kind of just stops, kind of nods to her and carries about her way. Inside, Mike, you hear the large iron door unclick and swing open, and you see a young constable starting to approach you. He comes to your door and says, I guess the doctor doesn't need to see you here. There's a woman here for you. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, you're free to go. And he unlocks the door and swings it open, kind of stands back.
I'll make sure and shoulder check him as I walk past.
You got me good. He kind of like holds himself up on the bar and trying to keep his balance. I mean, you're a good foot taller than this kid. He looks like just a drifting piece of plywood.
You be careful with that. Last time you hit somebody like that, you set him on fire.
Don't worry about it.
That poor kid never stood a chance.
So as you make your way up the steps into the interior, you see the woman standing there. She has her hands on her hips and she's just tapping her dark black pointed boots. Who is this woman? It's not your boss, but you recognize her from the pit. Who is she?
It's Lisa.
And who is Lisa?
Best way to describe it would be an enforcer.
Mm-hmm. She the
Just
one that
kinda,
she's the
yeah,
tax
if
collector.
If you're not doing your job, if you haven't paid your
She's
trash
HR.
bill. Yeah, HR.
All right, you're a human resources officer. So she just stands there with her hands to your hip, and as you kind of make your way up, she doesn't speak to you. She just points to the front door, still tapping her boot. She gives you a little smirk, but she's still just shaking her head.
I just give her a single pat on the shoulder as I walk past and head off to work. Or at least outside for this point.
Yeah, as you leave the door and inside Levi, once Mike has left, you see her turn around and kind of address everyone. All right, all of you onlookers, I would very highly recommend that you recognize this face. I do not want to return here. If you happen to see any of my men doing anything disorderly or requiring a night in the jail cell, how about you give me a ring instead? I will come and I will deal with them. Is that understood, boys? They all kind of, even the older men kind of shake their heads yes. It's a very strange aura she seems to have. With that, she gives a big grin. She almost bows, turns around with a quick spin, and starts clumping towards the front door. Yeah. So Mike has definitely left, and you're kind of in the station with a bunch of constables looking at each other like, what the heck just happened?
Well, that, and they're also kind of going, dang, she's kind of hot.
If you're into stocky librarians, they might. There's definitely some heat radiating from her.
Yeah.
But Levi, do you try to follow Mike out the door, or do you stay to whatever?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna follow him out the door. I have no interest staying in the presence of that woman any longer.
Mm-hmm. So William, how'd you sleep last night after you came home from the lake? Did you have any
Oh, like a baby.
Did you have any dreams about any particular people?
Maybe one about this really old man, but other than that. No.
And so what's your plan for the day? You kind of left early. What's
Well, I
your
probably went to the gym a little bit, and then I went to teach class.
Mhm. What are your thoughts on this case, though? You don't have much information on it.
Well, after work, I'm gonna go and I was gonna go and visit the parents
Okay.
and try to get some information about the kid, maybe where he hangs out and the like. I know they probably already got something there. They couldn't possibly get in trouble.
Mhm.
You know, they were just sitting there waiting, so I don't know what was.
No, exactly. I mean, they're good guys. They don't do anything crazy. It's a police station. What could they actually do?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So then for the rest of the day, Levi and Mike, what do you two do?
I guess I'll go first. I am gonna find a pretty somewhat populated corner and strike up a concert. Well, I say concert, I'm just gonna pull out my guitar and start playing.
Okay.
Sorry, I had food in my mouth. I'm gonna go to work.
Okay. So
I'm
everybody
a little behind.
everybody pretty much splits off and goes and does their normal daily thing. I'm gonna say let's go ahead and run through a montage real quick. You don't have a ton of time to do a ton of things, but you have your normal day to prepare before whatever you plan to do tonight. So is there anything beyond your normal work that you're doing, William?
Let me find this thing. Well, I don't have any. I don't have any burnt tags or anything that I could recover. That's the No, not particularly.
Okay.
Not that I can tell.
And once school ends, do you plan on going straight to the Bexley's house, or do you try to meet up with the other guys before you go?
I'll probably go straight to the house. I'm sure they're. I don't know what they do. One's probably collecting garbage. I don't know where the other one's at. So I'm not gonna go searching for a garbage man.
Okay. Mike, other than work, is there anything you're spending time doing for your montage?
Let me double check.
Montage.
No, I don't have anything I have to deal with. Basically, just work, plant some trees, some flowers.
Because that's gotten nobody in trouble before.
Don't worry about it, son.
Calm down there, Johnny Appleseed.
Nope.
And for you, Levi, you're playing music. You trying?
Indeed.
Go ahead.
I just said indeed.
Are you trying to explore that aspect of your mythos, or are you just playing because that's what you do?
Well, is there something I could do about our burnt badge?
Yeah. So you can recover from your last activity. So yeah, that should... It basically means it's no longer burnt because whoever saw it doesn't care anymore. Let's talk about that badge for a second, though. So you work for a secret order. What is the badge actually like? What does it say on it? What do people see when they see it?
Neat.
They say neat?
Neat. It's cool. It looks awesome. Right on. Way to get a fake badge.
I mean, it obviously has a sense of authority for some reason. So it can't link back to a secret order because they're not going to know what that secret order actually is. So in a way, the badge itself is a form of disguise. So what is it a badge of? Is it a part of the government that gives you access? Are you a special branch of military? What does the badge actually say to a normal person just looking at it?
Well, obviously, it's gotta have like the golden sheen to it, otherwise the badge never looks like it has authority.
Some kind of military badge. Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of fancy, I don't know. I can't think of the word for it.
FBI badge?
No, not so much FBI, but like, and not quite private investigators. Somewhere in there, some kind of.
It's like a Division 6
Yeah, like, hey, we have the authority, but regular people really don't know why.
Special circumstance
It's like one of them
officers.
Men in Black badges, you know. It's just you got it, and it's like, yeah, sure, you're with the Department of Transportation or something.
It'll fool 99% of people.
Yeah. Okay.
It's important enough to be like, hey, it's
Yeah,
got military ID branding and like, but
that's pretty much all I needed, is to know if it was military, police, or like a government ID, something like that. So that will help. So yeah, you can definitely recover from your last activity. So you can recover that burnt crew tag.
did you burn the crew tag?
He did for. I think
Doesn't that burn for all of us?
he lost that crew tag. No, so you can use your crew tags individually or as a group.
All right.
Yeah, I used it. I think when I used it was so I wouldn't get arrested.
All right. So let's talk. We know where William's going, but Mike and Levi, once it gets towards the end of the day, it's probably going to be a little bit later. Mike has to work some double time today.
Makes sense.
But what would you two plan to go? What would be your next location? So right now, Levi, you know that there's the Bexleys that still need to be questioned. You have the location of where Hans was last known to have gone, and you have the location of where the inspector may currently be and where the inspector believes his drug dealer may be as well. So with that information...
Okay. Well, I'm gonna find some clothes so I don't look like I live on the streets, even though I do, and make my way over to the gated community.
He's stealing stuff.
Yeah, so let's talk about this finding some clothes.
Who said I was stealing it? If someone leaves it out to be taken, that's their fault.
When you live on the street, dude, what else are you gonna do but take it from somebody else?
I was just doing a concert. Who says I didn't get paid some money?
Well, let's make a determination on this. We can either see if you made enough money to buy yourself a decent bit of clothing, or if you plan to go hit a laundry line.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with the show went pretty well. There was a lot of people walking around the streets, so I made a good amount of money. Not enough for a hat, so I had to nab a hat off of someone that was sleeping on a park bench.
Okay. So in that case, I'm gonna have you change the game. You're trying to give yourself an advantage. So what tags are you using to make the most amount of money at this concert?
Oh, we're doing it for the money? Okay.
That's what you said, right?
There was also lifting the hat off of the sleeping dude.
Yeah, let's see how changing the game goes first, and then we'll go from there. So this is basically giving you your juice. So we'll say your juice is kind of the coins you're making, or the amount of money you're making. So then with that, you can create a story tag of, better clothes, something like that. And then possibly use it towards a take the risk roll, but we'll see when we get there.
Okay, so I'm gonna use I have fans because I have fans. That should work. Crank it to 11. Play extra loud so everyone hears me. And would persuade thoughts work?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna use
Give
this.
me money.
No, I'll just play Money by Pink Floyd.
There you go. You're like, what is this racket?
I need to get rid of some story tags. I don't have hiding place anymore.
You don't, no.
No, I don't have hidden anymore. What about under suspicion?
Yeah, you still have that.
Does that come into play?
No.
Okay.
Well,
so-
actually, that'll probably come into play for stealing the hat more than it would for this. I don't think the constables in the area are gonna necessarily be like, that guy, he was in our station and he can't have money. So no is the answer there.
So, and you wanted me to do what? Change the game.
Yep.
Ooh.
Looks like you ain't getting nothing.
That doesn't mean I don't get nothing. I have ways. Looks like it's all theft, though.
Well, this is all based off of your... yeah, you're playing music. That's what's going on here.
People beat you up and take your money.
That I don't have because I just started the show.
Come on, give me that thing right now. I have to make sure that for when you miss this move, what happens? Because it looks like I get to just do whatever I want, and that's why.
That's not a good thing. And in any
That's why it's
situation.
so much fun. Literally have
It's a
so
great
many
thing. What are
things
you
to
talking
do.
about?
Okay. I'm gonna make you choose. I'm gonna make you choose. So there's a little competition going on in the square today. You're not the only musician there. There's like 13-year-old kid. Appears to be, I don't know, he kind of has the dark hair, pale skin, maybe, you know, from kind of Italian look. And he is just playing violin. Oh, it even makes you a bit like that kid's got some game. And it's drawn a bigger crowd, perhaps because he is a little bit younger. He has a very bright smile, and he is raking in the money. He's raking it in. You're not really making any. But you also notice that kind of back past him, there's this alley that goes back to a few very, very small gardens, and across them, about 8 feet up, there's 2 or 3 laundry lines that throughout the day you see a few of the women, you know, putting out shirts and dresses and skirts and all that kind of stuff to dry. You have a choice to make. You can either try to steal the money from the young kid, or you can steal the clothes from the women.
I feel like it's gonna be a no here, but I'm gonna throw a curveball and be like, what if I joined him and persuaded him to take part of what he made?
Yeah, perhaps if you had not missed the roll. Unfortunately, that was a hardcore miss.
Yup.
It's one off of a 7 through 9.
That's true.
That gets you nothing.
Well, no, hardcore is like a 1.
You still
Whatever.
get
I'm gonna take my chances with getting the clothes off the rack.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going to have you take the risk. You are performing a very risky or outright stupid feat to get yourself some clothing. What tags would you use here? And definitely under suspicion will come to play for that one.
Okay, well, I'm 6 feet tall, so it's not that high up I have to go for him.
Nope. They all seem to just be hung on by bobby pin, or not bobby pins, the hanger cloth pins. So probably going through and just yanking him down, you know, you're going to be able to get him down. Just a matter of how much noise you make. If you grab clothing that's actually going to fit you. There's a variety of things that could take place here.
So minus on under suspicion, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, hide from the public eye. street rat?
Yeah, I mean, this is a back alley. You probably know and have an idea of what you can use to get up high and get out quick.
And then, well, since it's right in front of me, know the streets and alleys isn't going to help me. It's kind of right there. Ambition, maybe?
I would say know the streets and alleys would probably be better, because when you steal it, you have to have an escape plan. Like, you probably aren't planning on hanging around the area for too long.
You bring a valid point, sir. Okay, and face danger?
Take the risk.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hey!
Very nice. So you kind of wait for him to swell in music. The crowd begins to riot in applause, and that's when you sprint into the alley. Describe what we see. This is your scene.
Alright, there's gonna be like a trash bin on one side and some crates on the other, and then like a gap and some more crates stacked a little bit higher, so I'm gonna have to like jump back and forth between them to get up to this clothesline and rip them off. And the hat on the far end's just a little too far, so I gotta kind of jump for it and use the trash to break my fall when I land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the time you land, you've grabbed everything. Probably not shoes, but you have, pants and a shirt and a vest and like a tie possibly, but enough to have decent clothing. So go ahead and give yourself a story tag of better clothes or whatever you want that. And then that story tag can be used for any roles that it might be able to affect. So either as a positive one or a negative one, depending on what the case might be. So as you get dressed, the day kind of ends. Mike, what would be your plan for the day? You haven't really heard a lot of information about new information. So you end your work day. What would you be doing?
Yeah, pretty much just the normal stuff, only, hour and a half, 2 hours late.
So would you be planning to go back to the pit to wait for the guys?
I'd go back and see if there was anything there that kind of told me where they'd be.
Okay. So in that case, you are heading there. So William, you get off work, and do you head straight towards the gated community, or do you go home to get changed?
Yeah, I'd probably go home and change. Straighten my tie, get a cleaner shirt,
Okay.
some kind of suit jacket, make myself look fancy.
All right. So you get dressed up in whatever typical school gala wear you would wear, and you head off to the gated community. As you're approaching, you notice a kid with a guitar on his back that vaguely looks like Levi, but he's wearing newer clothes that appear to be clean.
Oh, well then it can't be Levi.
How many kids do you know with a guitar?
How many kids do you know with a guitar?
Me.
Yeah, well I go to school. Teach at school.
Okay, but do they bring their guitar into your class?
They might. I don't pay attention to that. I'm just there to teach.
So Sans, how many kids do you know that have a guitar?
I don't know. Doesn't mean I'm just gonna recognize you with clean clothes.
Well, Levi, you would definitely recognize William.
Yeah, there's a lot to recognize.
So the gated community, it's completely surrounded by a high stone wall. There's a single guarded gate at the front, which is its only entrance. Behind the walls, you can see trees kind of swaying in the breeze. You hear birds singing. This is the home of a lot of the high-value properties. Some of the city's finest residents live here. There's a private school. There's a lot of the necessary, needs that they don't want to travel into the city for have been You do occasionally see what appears to be private security. They are mostly middle-aged men wearing dark, suits, no ties. They all have kind of a bowler cap on, and you see a holster on one side. Some of them have batons, and they kind of seem to just patrol around the walls. Occasionally you'll see them go up to anyone that seems to be hanging around the wall a bit too much and give them a talk, kind of escort them away. Every once in a while you'll see, beautiful, handsome cabs and other types of basically wagons and transportation enter and leave with individuals dressed up to the highest, most expensive kind of wear. But yeah, eventually you guys are there at the gated community. What's that conversation like? What do you guys talk about? Do you advise him of the information you gathered last night? Do you tell him about what happened?
I don't know. I didn't get arrested.
It's true, but you do have information on Hans.
It's just it's all three of us, right?
So the kid's name is Hans?
Yes.
My notes got deleted somehow, so.
Mike's not there. Mike is heading towards the pits. So it's just you and William at the moment.
Okay, just us two. Well, I'll turn and inform him of what happened. We kind of missed you last night. Almost two of us got arrested.
How? You were waiting for an inspector.
Well, I didn't. He never showed up, and
Well, then you go home.
well, I don't have a home to go to, so I decided to keep waiting. I'm not the one that got arrested. It was Mike.
Well, that's not a surprise.
I mean, I think he's only ever been arrested once before.
Yeah, but when he has nobody to look out for him, he tends to do stupid things. Sometimes I think he's a bit slow.
I think that's what the officer thought too, because they took him in for planting flowers.
That would do it, yeah. You need to help those people.
Or just let it get better. But while that was going on, that created a good enough distraction for me to go upstairs and check out Pasco Vion's desk and get some information on this case.
But why?
I
Why break
figured-
into a police department?
Well, he wasn't showing up, so I figured we got to get the information somehow.
Whatever. What'd you get?
So what I do know is that the last stated location, the last place that this Hans kid said he was going to be, was a place called Broadview Garden. And and from the personal notes of the inspector, he knows that the kid has an opium addiction, and he knows the location of his dealer, the rough location. It's by I believe, Cocoa Gate cafe place.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
I'm gonna pull out my notebook and I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. Likes the coke.
It's
Yeah.
an opium addiction, I believe. I don't. You can't read my handwriting that well.
Likes the drugs. Got it.
So as we swing back around to the pit. Mike, you arrive, you walk in, and it's empty. Frederic is in there, kind of looks up a bit shocked. Senor, why are you here? I didn't realize you all were meeting today.
No, not so much meeting as more trying to figure out where they are.
Ah, I see. No one else has come by today. I'm afraid I don't have much more information. Did you all have good success last night? I hadn't received any reports yet.
Success is kind of a vague term for what happened.
I see.
No, not like the lake.
Ah,
Not that bad.
Oops.
well, that is good.
Drop my fidget
Do you
spinner.
have any way to contact them, perhaps at their home or...
No, not really.
Ah,
I'm probably just gonna hoof it and see what I can find.
all right, well, if any of them stop by here, I'll make sure to let them know that you are looking for them. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So at this point, well, how do you feel, Mike?
Pretty good.
Okay. Do you feel?
I figure that they're going to go to the family
Mhm.
to try and talk to them, so I'm gonna go try and figure out where that is.
Okay. So it'll take you a little while to get there. So
Yeah, I mean, the numbers on the card will eventually match up with the numbers on a building.
yeah, I mean you know where the gated community is, so you know how to at least get
Yeah,
to
that
the
narrows
front
it
gate.
down pretty quick.
Yeah. So, Levi and William, there you both stand in dressed up clothing as much as you can. The gate is there, the wall around the community is there. What would be the plan here?
I suppose we just talk to the gate guard and see if we can, talk to the family.
Ask for the Bexley's residence, yeah.
So as you approach, the gate itself is a large kind of dark iron gate, and there's two of those personal kind of guard, very small boxes on either side. As you get close to the gate, one of the guards steps out, again in kind of a dark pressed suit, bowler hat. He steps up to the other side of the gate, so you guys are on opposite sides, and he just approaches. Yes, gentlemen. Can I help you with something?
We're here to speak to the Bexleys about their missing kid.
Kind of gives you a bit of a side eye. I see. Did they invite you here?
They did not, but I don't know the detective's name, because I don't have it written down anywhere.
Pasco Vallone.
Taco Paco.
I'm sorry. Are you feeling okay, sir? Perhaps a bit too much to drink. You seem to be.
I don't
speaking
know how to say that
nonsense.
name. Pasco Vallone, the detective that they.
Ah, yes, the police that were
hired.
absolutely no help in the case at all. Yes. What about them?
We're better than them.
And you are who exactly?
My name is Mr. Harvard.
Mr. Harvard, I see. And you are a detective as well?
Of sorts, yes. More of a private detective.
Private detective. He looks over to the other guard, kind of. I see. And who is your compatriot? Looks over towards Levi. Like one of the sleeves is just a little bit too long on one side.
He's the intern.
The intern. And your intern plays music that helps you with your case? Kind of grins.
No. Well, yes, but no.
Mm-hmm.
It's more... I don't know. I'm not good with words. Why am I the one talking?
I just I wait for him to ask me to do something and play music softly until he needs me.
Mr. Harvard, I see. Well, if you look over here, he reaches in and grabs kind of like a clipboard and pulls it out. All of the residents provide me with the name of any guests they expect to come through the gate. That way we can offer them a peace of mind within. You say you are a private detective for the Bexley family. However, I find it strange that they would not have put your name here.
I said I was a private detective and I would like to speak to the Bexley.
Ah. And how is it you heard about this case exactly? We've had a few people trying to get a bit of money from them. You can understand our hesitancy.
I've had... How would I just describe it?
Could we just be blunt and say we got a personal letter from them about it? Well, it wasn't a personal letter, but it's kind of like one.
You have the letter? You have the letter, don't you?
Do either of us have the letter on us?
Yes, you do. You totally have the letter.
Okay, then I provide him the letter and be like, oh, we were asked to be here.
He takes it. Benefactor, rumor. I'm sorry, but I am not quite sure what this is. Who did you receive this letter from exactly? I have not heard of any such reward coming from the family.
It's not necessarily from the family. Somebody higher up has an interest in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pull out the badge out of the coat. Yeah.
Do we want to burn it?
Why would you burn a badge? That would just...
Well,
it would smell horrible.
With crew
The whole
tags,
thing
you
with
can
the
only use
badge
them
is
once
use
per
it, it
session.
burns.
For just crew tags.
What, I can only use it once?
Per session, yes.
That's kind of ridiculous.
That's why they're crew tags and not your normal tags.
It's also a pretty overpowered item that we have right now, so.
Well, I don't know. Why am I always the one that ends up talking? Why can't anybody else do anything useful?
Because
that's
not
right.
there.
Give him the letter.
The last time somebody talked, they ended up in jail.
So the guard takes the letter, he folds it, hands it back to you. Alright, give us a moment. I'll send a runner up to the house, see if they're willing to speak to a Mr. Harvard. Do you have any other information I can provide to them? Perhaps the name of the office you come from, or your agency, wherever it might be, so that they might be able to, I don't know, at least get an idea of the business you might be offering.
Do we have business cards for the order?
No.
I mean, we can just say it's like on the order. The orders here.
They don't. Nobody knows who the order is.
No.
Do they not know?
It's the Illuminati, right? Imagine going up to a gate guard and saying, I work for the Illuminati.
Let me in.
Let me in. I work for an agency that doesn't exist.
I was just wondering, because, like, the order knows about them. I was wondering if in one...
Well, the order knows about everybody. But nobody knows about the order. That's how the order works.
Apparently nobody knows about the
Like
echo
Levi.
issue that I've explained.
The what?
The echoing issue that I've explained.
That's not my fault.
It's your fault for talking when I start talking.
Well, I can't tell you when
Anyways,
to talk.
Be a good kid.
So you see the other guard kind of nod and take off running. It will be a little while before he gets back. Perhaps you can take a seat over there. And he kind of points towards a fountain that's kind of across the street a ways. There's a few benches around it and still a decent crowd of people walking around. There's a few, again, musicians playing softly towards a variety of tables of some kind of outdoor cafe kind of towards the back, and it's a whole square of stuff and things.
Sure, we'll have a seat.
So after about probably half an hour, Mike, you show up. You see what you would assume to be William and Levi. Their faces look the same. Sitting, there's probably a good chance that Levi's playing music, but they're near a fountain. But they're both wearing very nice clothes.
Well, yeah. Knowing I would have come here, I would have gone home, taken a bath for the first time in who knows how long, and thrown on some my nice clothes. Probably not as nice as them, but...
Well, do you greet them? Do you approach them?
Well,
You're
yeah,
there
I'd walk up and see what's going on, because it's clearly them.
Hi.
So, you guys haven't gotten inside yet?
We're waiting. For what? I don't know.
So, should I sit down, or...?
Mine's well. Days like these, I wish the doctor was around.
So just as you're about to sit down, you hear a whistle, a lip whistle come from the gate, and you see the guard kind of shaking his hand towards you, William. Kind of his hand stuck through the gate.
Alright, well, I'll walk over, I guess.
The other guard is returned. His cheeks are kind of darker red. He's got sweat on his brow. He's kind of wiping it around. I'm afraid I don't have all that great news. Yes, we talked with Mr. and Mrs. Bexley. They're having one of their well, let's just say they're not really in the mood to talk. They did seem to be a bit intrigued from where you came from. I guess they had been expecting someone, so I guess we could go ahead and send you two around, but just for safety, I will be just sending my friend here just to escort you to their property. I'm just giving you a warning, though. They may not be all that talkative.
That's fine.
Alright, very good. So he goes and he unlocks one side of the gate and begins pulling it open. Kind of squeaks open and waits for you two to pass by.
Wait, two? Is Mike not with us in this?
Mike wasn't with us when we came up to the gate.
Yeah, fair enough. They didn't even ask about him, honestly.
Yeah. They just thought maybe we were talking to some homeless guy or something.
Oh, he's noticed Mike. He's waiting for you two to pass.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna walk on in.
In we go, yeah.
Yep. So, as Mike, you approach the door, he goes to close it. I'm sorry, sir, this is private property. Guests only. Closes the door.
I mean,
with a click.
I was kind of with them, just not at the beginning, but okay.
Oh, you had just arrived when he called you all over. So he doesn't know you from Sammy Sue.
Well, I know, because he wasn't there when I arrived. Other than watching me walk up.
Yeah.
But I said that to him.
Well,
You guys gotta vouch for me. Come on.
Can Spoon and I turn around? We're gonna turn around and be like, yeah, he's with us.
He leans over. The fat, smelly one is with you. Are you sure?
I'm not that smelly anymore. I took a bath.
Unfortunately, yes.
You have a tag that says wet and smelly.
Well, I know. I'm still wet and smelly, but I'm not as wet and smelly.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I see. Alright, he goes and opens the gate. He pulls it back a bit further to give you enough space to get in. Even though this is big enough to get a full wagon, he seems to be exaggerating about how far open he needs to get the gate.
Yeah, you just have to keep an eye on his kind of people, so...
Yeah, he kind of smirks and closes the gate. The other guard kind of walks in front of you, out of breath. All right, this way. So inside the gated community, it's just a lot of really, really nice houses, all with their own private driveways for their private cabs and other types of transportation. Some of them have stables on the side, all have manicured, perfect lawns and gardens. There's a variety of golden statues and marble statues, paintings outside, bushes that have, topiary and bushes that have been formed to different things. It's very over the top fancy. Kind of leads you down a couple blocks. You notice that compared to where you guys are from, the capacity for a home within this area is filled to about 10% of what it could be. Each of these houses just has so much space.
Neat.
It leads you up through the middle. You hear a few lawn parties going on. There's a few of these wagons that pass by, and then eventually you get towards this kind of hill in the center, and he starts leading you up this driveway. There's a large bit of green grass, trees, and shrubbery all over. A small pond kind of sits off into the corner. The house itself is a single-story house, but it's kind of in the shape of a T. So you're kind of walking towards the top of the T itself. It's been built of brick and stone. There's columns around it. There's a variety of, again, statues, bits of colorful rocks and all of that. You get to the front large oak wooden doors with kind of a nature pattern etched into it, and the guard reaches up and just knocks hardly. After a few moments, the door opens, and a woman that's probably about in her 80s answers. She's dressed in kind of it looks like a maid's outfit, but a bit fancier. Yes, are these the guests that they were expecting? Very well. She opens the door and looks. All right, take off your shoes before you come in.
Is Mike even wearing shoes?
Am I even wearing shoes?
I own shoes. Come on. Might only be one pair. But...
Do we want Micah to take off his shoes?
Oh yeah.
That's a very good question.
I took a bath. Come on.
I don't even know if you know what the word bath means. You could have just rubbed some paper on you and said it was a bath.
It was an ash
Did
bath.
you use
Is
a
that not-
power washer with it, or
is that-
just a soak?
Is paper not what you use when you take a bath?
No, you don't wash yourself with paper and whiskey.
Aw. What about rum?
Vodka.
I used rum this time.
So you're a bit sticky as well. Wet, smelly, and sticky.
So I take my shoes off.
Always sticky.
She points you to take your shoes off and then offers to take your coats if you have any.
Yes.
So
I have 2 coats.
the inside is there's a lot of light in here, both from fireplace that's been lit. It's very kind of warm, both in the look and the feel. There's a modest dining area with a bar, and you see through the windows towards the back there's a pretty grand stable with 3 very rare horses in there. Think like Arabian kind of horses. She ushers you kind of into think of like a living room, a meeting room. There's a few couches, love seats, all of them neatly decorated, kind of have an oriental feeling. There's a full wall just full of books, and then there's paintings all over the place. Different styles, some are just color, others think, still life kind of portraits and whatever you would think is fancy artwork. That's what they have in there. She offers you to sit. For you, Mike, she goes and she pulls a blanket out and like sets it down on a chair and then offers you to sit down on it. And then she goes around, grabs 3 crystal glasses and begins to offer you all a drink. It looks like some kind of liquor.
None for the intern, please.
I can decline myself. Yeah, no thanks, I don't drink.
She grins and puts the one glass back away and pours the other 2, hands it to you. All right, dearies. The Bexleys will be down to speak with you soon. Again, please make yourself comfortable. Don't just stay in this room. If you need anything, feel free to holler out for me. I'd be happy to help you in any way. And she kind of points out to the guard. Do you need anything, sir? Are you fine? He kind of just tips his hat and says, I'm fine, man. I'm fine. I'll just stay out here. Let me know if you need anything. They usher themselves away. There's a bit of music playing in the background from a room you can't quite see, and you can hear a light conversation, voices echoing kind of down the halls. The fireplace crackles. There's a bit of the smoky smell from the fireplace mixed with a floral scent, an aroma, some kind of candle or incense they might have burning.
And whatever Mike smells like.
That as well. It's actually strong enough that it seems to be covering some of his smell. The floors, a nice polished kind of wood, and the place itself just seems very, very clean. And there are quite a few potted plants, flowers, and even a few strange like cactus and things that are around the room as well. They seem to be very interested in all variety of art and beauty. After about 5 minutes, you start to hear footsteps approaching from behind you. Entering the room are the Bexleys. They both appear to be about 60s, but still have a very intriguing kind of beauty. The man is dressed in a dark kind of purple shirt that is unbuttoned, kind of loose, still tucked in, very straight and dark pants. He wears dark shoes, and he has silver perfect circle kind of glasses that he adjusts. His hair is dark brown with a few streaks of gray that he has combed back, and it's nicely trimmed. The woman is wearing a dark green flowing kind of gown. It's actually a bit more low cut than would be normal in this kind of age. She definitely has a bit of wrinkles, around her eyes, but her smile is kind of, alluring, pulling you in. As they come in, the gentleman kind of walks over and stands up there. So you are the ones that we are, well, destined to save our son. Is that correct?
I wouldn't say destined, but
We're certainly here to help.
Tell me, what are your names? I am Leonard Bexley. You probably know that already. And this is my wife, Christina. I see that that madam has already provided you with drinks, but please tell, who are you?
where do all my notes keep disappearing to? Here we go.
Who the what now?
Your names, please. I'd like to know.
Mike.
Mike. He reaches out to shake your hand.
Gets a strong, firm grip.
Yeah, it's like shaking a dead fish. He has very, very soft hands and a very light grip. My pleasure, Mike.
Clearly.
Mike's just like, oh god.
I'm Levi, and I reach out my hand before he reaches out for mine.
Mm-hmm. Again,
I give him a firm, bony handshake because I don't have a lot of meat on my skeleton.
he grabs it and again kind of wiggles it a little bit, not quite sure how to do these handshake things. He notices your guitar. We have another musician here, don't we, dear? Music is such a beautiful thing. We might have to listen to you play later. And you, sir.
I'll very daintily take his hand and shake it, and then say, I am William Harvard.
Well, it was very nice to meet you all, and again, I must say many thanks for you all coming. It's a very difficult time in our lives, very, very difficult indeed, isn't it, sweetheart? And you hear very soft pitter-patter of feet as she walks around the edge, and she comes and she sits kind of on the edge of the chair next to you, Levi, and you start to very lightly hear the strings of your guitar kind of ringing as she's rubbing her hand kind of gently down the spine of the guitar, lightly strumming it. Yes, dear, a very difficult time in our life. It's so wonderful that these lovely young men have come to help us with our problem.
I'll take a step back.
I'm gonna scoot over a little bit, just because she's getting a bit close for comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm starting to think that night at Mike's probably wasn't the worst thing that could have happened.
So she definitely kind of leans a little bit. She's still a bit uncomfortable to the point that she might be trying to squeeze into the room that you've now made between yourself and the edge of the chair, but not fully there yet. Leonard,
Now, is this a chair or a couch they're sitting on?
it's like a love seat, so it's enough for two people that I would think William and Levi, you guys are kind of sitting near each other, and William, you feel Levi kind of scooching closer to you.
I'm gonna scoot closer to him, so he has to scoot closer to her.
Okay, so there's a bit of shuffling going on the love seat. Leonard begins to kind of walk up and down, and as he does, he frequently kind of rubs his chin. There's not a speck of hair on it. We'll go over and kind of adjust the corner of a painting and turns around with kind of a jut. All right, well, we are here. What can we do for you?
Tell me about your boy.
Hans. Well, what can I say? He is our everything. He kind of looks towards his wife. He's our only child. Just a scholar, student, athlete, beautiful artist. He's great with the horses. He's just a perfect child. I have not. I had too many blessings to count. Let me tell you. He points over to a picture. This is probably the most recent portrait we've had done of him, and he kind of grabs it. It shows a very strong-jawed man, probably about in his 20s, early 20s. He has kind of light brown hair that is kind of, think surfer style, a bit longer, a bit kind of frazzled. He has a really stupid, derpy smile on his face and just looks like a douchebag, to be honest. But he grabs it and he kind of strokes the face. Yes, this is Hans. Beautiful boy, isn't he?
At all?
So reading them, no, they seem to be far too happy and jovial in the moment.
So not at all like the mood that the gate guard said they were in.
Yeah, and nothing you're seeing. They don't seem distraught. So Levi, by this point, she's kind of slid and her arm is moving its way kind of behind you, and eventually you feel a small kind of tug, like rub of fingers on the back of your neck. She kind of leans over. You are a pretty one, aren't you?
I'm gonna very abruptly stand up and ask, are there facilities nearby that I could use?
Oh, of course. The chamber room is just down the hallway. She points down towards the left side of the T. You see there's a couple rooms. It's the first door on your left there.
Can we get a fancy battle map?
Yeah, I think we need a fancy battle map.
Do we need a battle map? All right.